God bless everyone tonight. I was reading and it was coming to my mind, right? We know that Paul, he charged Timothy, right? And when you hear the word that it says final instructions, what comes to your mind when you hear that? When you hear the word final instruction? What does a Christian leader write in a final letter? Encouragement and affection, and challenge to be strong in the what? In the faith. Okay, because there's a lot of people that say they have faith, and they have faith as long as everything is okay. The minute something goes wrong, what happened with the faith? You see, having faith means that even when things doesn't look good, your faith will see you through. Your faith will keep you walking. It is a solemn charge when you hear the word final instruction, because we know that Paul charged Timothy. All right, he charged Timothy. Okay, and it can be summed up in many ways. Like, do your best to present yourself to God as one approved. Okay, a worker who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth. Okay, when we hear the word final instructions, it is something that we know that Paul is pressing on. God is giving us final instructions. I mean, all the things that we're seeing happening around the world, and God is speaking. But we know that in his instructions to Timothy, Paul, he emphasized in one word, faithfulness, okay? Paul reminds Timothy of the faithfulness of his ancestors, okay? There's many of us who have to go back to our ancestors, the faith that they had, the unshakable faith that they had. I remember my dad, his faith was unshakable. And my mom too. I remember when someone would be like sick, she would be like, you don't have nothing. You are okay. You're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. It is nothing to worry about. So we have to go back to our ancestors sometimes and let it remind us of the faithfulness that they had, the surety of the gospel, and his own example, and then encourage him to be loyal to the faith. Above all, Paul exhorts the young pastor to be faithful to his calling and gifts. God is calling many people today to be faithful to their calling, faithful to their gifts. Many people have these gifts, this calling that God has given them, these gifts, so they can today be exhorted. So today they can flourish. So today they can make a difference. Okay? And many people don't realize that God is also calling us to endurance. Okay? Serving Christ is a hard work. It is not easy. Sometimes people say it's easy. It's not easy. Sometimes we feel like, because you have to walk in righteousness. You know that you have to do things right, because you're not going to be holding hands with the devil and serving God at the same time. It requires endurance, perseverance, like a soldier serving in the army. Okay, like an athlete in training to compete, or a farmer whose labors for his crop. Yet eternal rewards await each and every believer. Eternal rewards. Because we know that everything we do here in this earth, sometimes you think people don't appreciate it. Sometimes you feel alone. Sometimes you say, you know what? Everything that I do, no one cares. No one notices. Guess what? Everything that you do, God sees it. And God will always reward his children. Sometimes we don't understand it. Sometimes we don't understand what it is, but yet the eternal rewards that awaits every believer is big. Okay? So another thing that we have to understand is depravity. Means Paul reminds Timothy of the hostile and sinful world in which he will carry out his ministry. You see, Timothy will have to counter this by living conform to the gospel. Everything that we're seeing happening around the world, we just got to live conform to the gospel of Jesus Christ, knowing that everything we see that may discourage us, Don't think that you're being deprived of what's happening out there. No, we see what's happening. We know what's going on. But yet God wants us to be so focused on the gospel of Jesus Christ that we don't lose heart, that we can continue strong and know that he's got something greater for each and every one of us. And legacy. You see, we know that as Timothy received the torch of the gospel, he is to carry on Paul's ministry of teaching and training others to advance the cause of Christ. God wants us to do the same thing, to carry on this ministry, to carry on this torch, because we are going to leave a legacy behind. Our children, our family, the people that are watching us. You see, Timothy is the link between Paul and the next generation of Christians. Sometimes we ask ourselves, when I die, what would I leave behind? Oh, I will leave a car. I will leave a house. I will leave. No, what about a legacy, a spiritual legacy where your child can say, my mom, my dad was a woman of God, a man of God. My dad, when trials would come, and my mom, when trials would come, she will go and slay in the spirit. She will pray. She will stand up like a warrior. He will stand up like a warrior of God, and they will defeat in the spirit. Sometimes we don't see that our children and our own family, they're watching us. They're watching who you are in the midst of adversity, who you are in the midst of storms, who you are in the midst of trials, because it's so easy to praise and worship God and say I'm a Christian when everything seems really good. But what about when things are going so rocky, and here comes the sickness, here comes the pain, here comes the poverty, here comes the lacking food and lacking things that you really want? Who are you in those moments? What legacy will you leave behind to your children? So when trials come their way, when hardship come their way, what kind of trial will you leave behind? And the next word is friendship. The need for human companionship and the nature of friendship, and both of its finest hours and most disappointing moments are prominent. Okay, sometimes we feel that we're alone and we feel like we don't have no one. But let me tell you, good friends are good to keep. Good friends we have to pray for. Good friends, we have to cherish them, because there are very few people that you can call a true friend. Many people come into your life and they say that they're your friend, but either they want something in return, or they're waiting for that little moment that you are going through something, hardship, and they will be the very first one that will come. The ones that they say they're real friends, but they're not. They will be the very first one to come, wondering, what did you do wrong? What have you done that this has came to your body? Sickness and all that, just like Job's friend. Job's friend came, and instead of making him feel better, they made him feel worse. At the end of the day, we have to discern the spirits and know who is who and what people do. We have to discern the spirits so we can know who is a true friend. But good friends, know them by the fruits of the spirit. Not everyone that say they're your friend is truthfully your friend. By the fruits of the spirit, they will be known. A true friend does not give up. A true friend understands. A true friend receives criticism and do not get upset with you. A true friend is there through good times and bad times, and is there to lift up your hands when all things seems to fall down. At the end of the day, we got to pray, ask God for discernment, and know that yes, there are good people out there. There are good friends out there, but not everything that shines is gold. Discern and ask God for the spirit of discernment. Ask God to reveal to you, because we're living in perilous times, in times where God is exposing, God is revealing, God is showing you who is who in your life. And you know what? For all those good friends, high five. But for those who are not there, high five as well, because they're only coming to your life for a certain amount of time. And those bad friends, it's okay. Thank them, because at the end of the day, they only help you move forward. That's it. May God bless you, love you, and let's continue to be strong in the Lord and know that God is with us no matter what. God bless.